So hi everyone, hope you're doing really well. Welcome to this video. So Josh, how do I know when I'm ready to invest in property? And my answer to you would be, once you understand the foundational concept. What's that? The foundational concept is that you can buy an asset requiring only a quarter of the money from you. You can borrow the other 3/4, but that asset is going to pay you twice, one through rental income and the other through capital appreciation. And if you structure it sufficiently well, that asset can not only pay you twice, but it can pay your family twice for generations to come. And let me just explain the power of that and how this really is a watershed moment for going from, is this something I should think about, to this is something I must do. So let's say you've got a house, you find a house and you're going to buy it for £150,000. You've had a survey done by a RIC surveyor and they said this property is worth £150,000. So you go and tootled off to a bank and said, I'd like to buy this house. Can I please borrow 3/4 of it in the form of a mortgage? Can I borrow £112,500? Yes, you can, as long as you put in £37,500. That's absolutely fine. Great, wonderful. What do we have to do next? Well, I will need insurance. So now you go to an insurance provider and you say, can I have some insurance for this property that's been valued at £150,000? Yeah, that's fine. What's the rebuild value should the worst happen? Okay, how to find that out? You go onto the BCIS website, which I've linked for you in the description below, and you put in the information about the property. You say, this is the postcode, it's a 2-story property, it's this many bedrooms, this is the internal area of the property, this is the material for the walls, this is the material for the roof, etc. And it will give you a value to rebuild that property. And the most recent one that I did gave us a value of £250,000 a minimum and £350,000 as a maximum, depending on the finishes and fittings. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, this £150,000 property that we'd like to buy is going to cost us £300,000 to be rebuilt. Well, not us, but an insurance company. Let me ask you a question then, just as an aside, but as to this power of the argument that you're going to earn more from capital appreciation than you ever will from rental income, if you're going to buy a property that's built for £150,000, but it's going to cost an insurance provider £300,000 to build it new should the worst happen, what is the direction of the house price if it's not up? And here's the power. You don't have to have £300,000 to buy this house to get paid twice. You don't even need £150,000 to buy this asset to get paid twice. You only need a quarter of that, of £37,500 to get an asset to pay you twice and your family for generations. So you say to your mortgage provider, wonderful, so your insurance provider, yeah, wonderful, I'd like to take that insurance. Just out of interest, how much is that going to cost me? £300 a year. So just view this now from the perspective of your insurance provider. Your insurance provider is looking at this concept of owning an asset and getting paid twice for generations. And they're saying, we will put at risk £300,000 so long as you pay us £300. What's the level of risk? What's the risk-based pricing that's gone in to come to that conclusion? Does the insurance provider see this as a risky concept or not? And the answer is they don't really see it as particularly risky because the premium is relatively low. So pop that in the back of our minds. We now take that information and go back to our mortgage provider and say, we've got insurance, wonderful, rebuild value is going to be £300,000. Can I now take that mortgage out? Yep, fine, wonderful. Here's £112,500. Before you do, how much is that going to cost me? It's going to cost you 5%. Is that a lot or not? And we need to ask that question, not in the context of, is that a lot for mortgages, but is that a lot to borrow in the context of borrowing? And let's just say, for sake of argument, compare that to a credit card, which might be borrowing at 39.9%. 40% to borrow on a credit card, 5% to borrow in the form of a mortgage. So how risky do mortgage providers and banks view this concept now? What's the level of risk that they see this concept? And the answer is they see it as relatively low risk, hence the premium is relatively low, the interest rate is quite low. So you have this concept, this foundational concept of you can own an asset requiring a quarter of the money that's going to cost you twice as much to rebuild, but someone else is willing to risk their money for that. And both the mortgage provider and the insurance provider see this concept as low risk. And there's no other model out there like it where you can have a quarter of money to buy an asset and get paid twice and pass that asset down the generations so that members of your family can benefit in years to come. And I would suggest to you that you are ready then to invest in property from a mental point of view, from a mindset point of view, once you understand the power of that concept. Once you understand that, then the next thing is you have to then find, how do I find the money, how do I find the time, and how do I get the information? But that is the beginning of your property investing journey once you understand the power of that concept. I hope you found that helpful. Any thoughts and comments, questions, let me know down below in the comment section. Apart from that, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.